Hello everybody and welcome to the Strategic Planning Experience video series. This is number 2 and we're going to talk about the process of strategic planning today. It doesn't have to be complicated. I've already said that. If you want to make it complicated and overly detailed, you go right ahead. I'm not big into making it more complicated than it has to be, but I am big into making sure you follow the process. Now remember, strategic planning includes a systematic process of bringing that vision to life, okay? So basically, the process is this. Start with the foundation. Do you have a solid foundation? That foundation includes all of your statements. Have you really defined your mission statement, your purpose statement, your core statement, okay? And a vision statement. All of your statements. Have you defined those? Because that gives you a solid foundation. Who you are, what you're about, is the foundation that we build from. Now, building that foundation includes the opportunity to not only define it, but you get to design it. And when I say design it, that then brings all of your statements to life. It brings your foundation to a visual, multi-sensory experience, not just for you, but for all of those people who are getting to know you and your brand. So if we're talking about a business or an organization, you definitely need to put that effort into your brand identity and not just the logo, okay? So think broader than just a logo. So if I were to come to you and say, hey, we really need to look at the brand. It is disconnected from who you say you are or what the experience of you is. This is what I'm talking about. The foundation is a little cracked. So let's fix the foundation. That is going to be a completely separate video so I can walk you through the process of the foundation itself, developing those statements, having some of those tools to be able to make it easy for you to do that. And I'll include the tools because unless I'm there with you, it's hard to just, figure out what tools I'm talking about. So with that, the next level of this, so we've defined and we're designing that brand identity. The next thing that we want to get to is figuring out what the strategic priorities are, such as objectives, like what's the point of this? What do we want to see happen within this vision that makes sense? So for example, here's a good example for you. If you were a small town, let's say a Main Street organization, typically are smaller towns. And we have one right across the river here in New Albany, and they are a Main Street organization. Now, one of their strategic objectives within their plan is livable neighborhoods. Great. So livable neighborhood brings to life part of this vision of an award-winning Main Street organization. So now we have livable neighborhoods as the objective. All right. We have the foundation. We know who we are. We know where we're going. We know what the vision is, a livable neighborhood. What do we do with that? So this seems to be vague. However, it's not. What we want to do with this, a livable neighborhood, is we want to analyze it a little bit and then describe what does it take to be a livable neighborhood. Okay, so part of what it takes to be a livable neighborhood is safe, clean, solid infrastructure, and a few other things. So if we take this safe and clean and solid infrastructure, especially solid infrastructure, what are the things that we need to have a solid infrastructure that also feeds into safe and clean? Roads and walkable sidewalks. All right, so now the goal for a walkable sidewalk to be finished by, name a date. Okay, so let's just say, because this is in the fall, we want to have it done by February of 2018. I don't know. So let's just say walkable sidewalks in this area of town by February 2018. What do we need to do to make that happen? Because now we've set the goal. The objective being livable neighborhood. Goal is walkable sidewalks in this area of town by this date. Now we need to figure out what are the action items. Who do we need to go talk to? What kind of money do we need to find in a budget? How do we help? How do we rally the troops? All of this kind of stuff goes into the action items that you need on a daily basis to accomplish the goal by that date for this thing that meets the objective, that fuels and brings to life the vision of the strategic plan. So all of this stuff flows together. But we're starting up here at the vision, which is also part of your foundation, and breaking it down into action items. And that's why a strategic plan works, is because when you follow a systematic process like this, it makes it easier to not only understand, but to put into action. We're not just talking about big things here that we want to accomplish. We've actually broken it down into who needs to do what by when to make sure we're moving this along. Now, also take the time to assess. We've created those goals. We now know what the milestones are. We know we need to be checking in on a consistent basis to make sure people are doing what they say they're going to do to accomplish the goals that meets the objectives that brings the vision to life. And I hear a song in my head somewhere. So if somebody can okay, anyway, that's my own little, you saw that happen right then and there. This is what it's like to work with me sometimes. It can be funny, and I want to make strategic planning fun and meaningful for people. So if I come to you and I say that, hey, you're disconnected, we need to get you in alignment, we will be starting with that foundation first. So that is going to be our next video when we talk about defining and designing your foundation in strategic planning. So thank you very much for watching. If you have any questions or comments, please include them in the comment section of any of the social media channels that I post this in. I really want your feedback. I want to know, is this valuable to you? Is this something that you could be using? Do you want more of this kind of stuff? That would be awesome. Or if you have any questions about strategic planning, please ask me. I'm not the expert, but I have been doing it for a while. So I do have a system that works for a bunch of people. It works for me as well as all the businesses and organizations that I've been working with for quite a handful of years now. So with that, I thank you so much for watching to this point. Ladies and gentlemen, have a fabulous day and look out for video number 3.